Hare Krishna, everyone. Dhanavat Pranams. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Jai Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. I hope you are all doing well. This is a special video today. We haven't done anything like this in a long time, possibly a couple of years. Many of you will remember that around 4 years ago, we published a book called The Hare Krishnas in Britain. It's a book that looks at the history and diversity of Lord Chaitanya's movement, family in the United Kingdom. And we were very keen to look at all the different mats, all the different sangas, and see how they fitted together. That was 4 years ago, and as you can imagine, a lot has changed since then. There is an expression that a week is a long time in politics. Well, a week is even longer in the Hare Krishna movement. And we then produced a chart. I'm going to show you this chart now, and I'm going to talk to it or talk about it for a while because we're now going to review the chart. After 4 years, I've been thinking about this for at least 6 months. We need to review the chart. We put together a chart 4 years ago, mapping out particularly not all the Gaudiya Vaishnav groups in Britain, but we mapped out the Saraswat Line in Britain. So those are all of the groups and all of the mats that effectively are offshoots of the original Gaudiya Math that disbanded, the original Gaudiya Math that disbanded institutionally in the late 1930s. So we put together a chart looking at the influence or the impact that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has had in Britain. So I'm going to show you this chart now. Bear in mind, this chart is 4 years old. I'm going to talk through it. And I'm going to explain why we're now ready to update it, because we do have a section on the Hare Krishna Project website. If you click on history, you will see that this chart is a published chart, and we are now ready to update it. And one of the main reasons for this video today is to ask for your help. The people on the ground, the laity of the Hare Krishna movement. We want your help to give us updates as to what is going on. So now I'm going to share my screen. Okay, you can share your screen in such a groovy, cool way today, these days. Okay, so hopefully you can see behind me screen. This is the chart that we put together 4 years ago. And as you can see, this is from the Hare Krishnas in Britain book, which I'm still holding here. And we mapped out the Saraswat line in the UK. And just to clarify again what I mean by that, it's all the mats and all the sangas that come from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. This, as you can see very clearly, it says on the chart, this is a map of branches, sub-branches, and offshoots. Now, I'm going to talk through it, but one thing I really want to stress very heavily, even though I did stress this 4 years ago, some devotees, and I don't mean this in a mean way, didn't understand what I was saying. This is not a map of succession. Okay, I'll say that again. This is not a map of succession because a number of people complained 4 years ago that their guru wasn't on the map. Well, they might have been a successor to a certain guru or previous guru, but this is not a map of succession. Okay, this is different. This is a map of branches, sub-branches, and offshoots. Okay, so I'm going to go through what we did 4 years ago, and then I'm going to explain why we're going to make updates and what needs to be updated. So as you can see at the top, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Maharaj. Physically, I know he's still in our hearts now, but physically he was present between 1874 and 1937. And he had hundreds of disciples. I'll be honest, I don't know the exact number of disciples, but he had hundreds of disciples. And as you can see, I have listed, I'm not sure if you can see my cursor, but I'm going to assume that you can. As you can see, and what I've done is I've mapped out all of these disciples, and they're color coded. So the main difference between the two is in the lighter yellow are all those that actually came to Britain. So those are the seven disciples of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur that came to the United Kingdom. So just I want to obviously point out that A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada wasn't the only disciple of Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada that came to the West. Seven of them did. Okay, seven of them. And then also I've listed five other disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur that didn't come to Britain, but they had an influence here, or they still have an influence today. So on this map, there's five of them. Okay, there possibly more to be added. And what I did with this chart 4 years ago, these were the results of the research project carried out by the book, the Hare Krishnas in Britain. I then listed um, offshoots, branches, and sub-branches. Now, I have tried to be as objective as possible. That's really important. One of our main aims here at the Hare Krishna Project is to try and be objective. Maybe I'm not always good at that. Is to try and be objective, and also to try and give everyone with the podcast the same airtime, to give all groups and all sangas on mats and all the same coverage, because I believe in fairness. As much as possible, I want to be fair, and I want to treat people with respect, dignity, and fairness. So, I don't necessarily need, unless, I mean, there is a need for this to go through all the different ones. I think that some of the things I want to point out on this chart is that you can see the photo of AC Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada in the middle there. I've then referred to a number of mats that are offshoots from ISKCON that are second generation. So I've listed three there. The Sri Chaitanya Sangha, founded by Tripurari Maharaj, which is still very active and still very present, and probably a lot bigger than it was in the 1980s. There's the Science of Identity Foundation there in the middle. I have no idea where if you can see my cursor, but I am now hovering around the Science of Identity Foundation. And actually, since this map has come out, I have discovered the Science of Identity Foundation is a lot bigger in Britain than I thought. They're particularly very active in the Surrey area, and they have very popular kirtans. Okay, so that's the map that it was 4 years ago. It was left published. It's on the Hare Krishna Project website, and we are now ready to update it. Okay, so some of the things that I need your help with, and some of the ideas I want to put out there, is that I want to now broaden this map. So this is a map of all those in the Saraswat line, and most Gaudiya Vaishnava practitioners in Britain, probably in Europe, and probably in the West are in the line of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So it's called the Saraswat line. I have heard recently it referred to as the Saraswat Vamsa. I heard that someone referred to it recently as that. But all of us that are disciples of any of these wonderful personalities in the pictures, or grand disciples or great grand disciples, we are in the Saraswat line. But there's another group of devotees in Britain that are in the Nityananda line, or the Nityananda Vamsa. And even though they had a big mention in the book, The Hare Krishnas in Britain 4 years ago, I didn't include them on this map. And that was purely for logistical reasons, is I wanted to put together a map or a chart that could fit nicely on a piece of paper. But I'm now ready to put the Nityananda Vamsa, Nityananda uh, line or groups on this chart. It will be very different though. They will probably be, I hate using this term, over at the side, and they will be listed in a different way. And just in case anybody needs clarification, those devotees in the Nityananda line or the Nityananda Vamsa, they will follow gurus such as Anantadas Babaji, Sri Raman Baharidas Babaji, Sri Vinod Baharidas Babaji, Prem Gopal Goswami, Nitya Gopal Goswami, and particularly with Nitya Gopal Goswami, I have interviewed a number of his disciples on the Hare Krishna Project podcast. And so it's only right now that the groups, use that word lightly, the groups, the sangas, the mats in the Nityananda line are included on a chart of the Hare Krishna movement in Britain. So that's the first thing I want to say. The other thing to say is I've listed which groups I'm going to be adding. Um, I keep stressing this was published 4 years ago, and a lot has changed, believe it or not. Things do change in the material world. Some change is good, some change is bad. It's based on your opinion. So one of the groups I'm going to be adding that didn't exist in 2021 is the Tatatmiya Sangha. The Tatatmiya Sangha or Tatatmiya Alliance is run by Swami Padmanabha, and he has a growing popularity in Britain. So I will be including that group on this chart. It's going to be, again, this is a slight, there's so much controversy in the Hare Krishna movement. Where I actually list the group, I'm not 100% sure, but it's probably going to be listed around the third generation box, because we obviously know that Padmanabha Swami's history, he has links with both Tripurara Swami and Paramadvaita, previously Swami. I personally don't use the term Swami to refer to gurus that have fallen, even if they are repentive of their sins. I think any guru that abuses children, or that Swami means one who is in control of their senses. So anyway, so Vrinda is mentioned at the bottom of the second generation box. I think I'm going to leave Vrinda on here for now because there are still some devotees in Britain who will say that they are followers of Vrinda. The disbandment of Vrinda is an interesting one, and I could do a whole podcast on that, or a essay on that, because it's a really good example of when a leader falls or a leader passes away. Paramaveta hasn't passed away, as far as I know. What happens to his followers and his grand disciples? And this is an interesting one. But anyway, the Tadatmiya Sangha will be going on this list, probably somewhere around the third generation box. Okay, the Hare Krishna Project. That's a small, very loyal band of devotees that I have the privilege of I hate this word, but leading, running, facilitating. We are independent. We're an independent group. So the Hare Krishna Project, as an independent group, will be going on this chart, probably around the third generation box, just because I'm still really young. Makes me feel younger if I say we're in the third generation. And also, you will not be aware that the Hare Krishna Project is part of a bigger alliance now called the League of Devotees. So one of our partner organizations is in the third generation box. I think I can see that I'm hovering my cursor over it, but the Hare Krishna Center Leicester is an independent temple in Leicester run by Gauranga Sundara Prabhu, a really good friend of mine. The Hare Krishna Project, the Hare Krishna Center in Leicester, we formed an alliance in 2024 with a third organization called the Radha Kripa Mission, which is based in France. The Radha Kripa Mission is not in this book because this is only about Britain, and the Radha Kripa Mission isn't currently on this chart, but the Radha Kripa Mission will be going on this chart, and that's not me showing favoritism, simply because the Radha Kripa Mission is now having an impact in Britain, and it is attracting followers. So I will try in some way illustrate how the Hare Krishna Project and the Radha Kripa Mission are in the third generation, and we're in an alliance. So those will be additions as well, and also um, I was to say exciting news. I'm excited, but I love all of this, by the way. I have a particular interest in the sociology of religion. But the other group that will be added is the Krishna community in Scotland. So the Krishna community in Scotland, I'm not sure of their official name registered with the Charity Commission. They are now an independent group. They have their charitable status and they are independent from ISKCON. So they will also be appearing as a new group in the third generation box. And I'm not going to say too much about that now because they've been active for about a year or two, and they're doing kirtans and programs, and I go and see them at least once a year. Off to see them again actually in a few weeks. But they can say more about themselves on their own social media channels. So those groups are being added. The Tatatma Sangha, the Hare Krishna Project, the Radha Kripa Mission, the League of Devotees overall, and the Krishna community in Scotland, plus all the Nityananda Vamsa groups as well will be added. Are there any other groups that you're aware of that need to be added? So, are you aware of any new Hare Krishna groups in Britain that can be added to this chart? Are you aware of any schisms? So, schism is a technical word the in religious language to refer to a division, a religious division, so to speak. Are you aware of any schisms or offshoots that I'm not aware of? If so, I would love to hear. Now, I'm going to go through some that I think might have happened. Some of the, again, when we say the word schism or division, we often think of something bad, but it's not necessarily bad. Things change, people move on. You know, an example could be that a group of people are running a big business in, I don't know, Birmingham, and the business becomes really big, and then one member of the business says, right, I'm going to go off and set up my own business, and the others say, congratulations, good luck, I hope you have a good time and you make lots of money. So when we refer to schisms and divisions or offshoots, they're not necessarily bad things. So please don't misinterpret anything that I'm saying. I know some of you love to misinterpret what I'm saying, but there's no need to. So some divisions or some new changes that I think might have happened, but I really need to hear from people to just to clarify this, is the International Pure Bhakti Yoga Society, founded by Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. I'm aware that that doesn't exist in the way that it used to. Often when a religious leader passes away or leaves their body, you often see lots of divisions, new ways of doing things. And certainly in the UK, the International Pure Bhakti Yoga Society, in Birmingham, it's registered as the Gaudiya Vedanta Samiti, and I do actually illustrate that in the book. There's also the Ganga Mathas group, who are based in Wales. I interviewed Kamala a couple of years ago. Fantastic interview that was. Wonderful devotee. But also, I'm aware that things just aren't the way that they used to be, and there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. I'm aware that a lot of the disciples of Narayana Maharaj, some of them have got, sorry, those that initiate, some of them have got big followings, and some of them haven't. And some of them don't necessarily join up with the others. So I want to hear from members of the Sangha, because that's how they refer to themselves. How would you like to be illustrated on this map? Would you like Ganga Matters to be seen now as a new group, separate group? Would followers, maybe, Van Maharaj, like to be seen separate or whatever? Doesn't bother me personally. I just want to reflect and present things as they should be. Okay, the other group, which is an interesting one now, is the Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat. As you know, we've got two temples in London, one in Green Street in East London, and one in West London next to Heathrow Airport. Both wonderful temples. However, both temples made the decision about a year ago. I've never seen this before. I've never seen this before. Is to remove an acharya from the line on the altar. So they removed Acharya Maharaj from their Acharya line. So that's, I mean, well, let's not be me controversial. They literally happened. They made a statement to say they were doing it. So the line of leaders or gurus or acharyas in those two temples in London now stops with Govinda Maharaj. And the statement was basically saying, we recognize that actually after Govinda Maharaj, you can have a number of gurus or different gurus, So, but I'm also aware that there are some members of the Sri Chaitanya Saraswat that disagree with that. So I would love to hear from you. Are you active in a different way? Are you running a new group? Are you doing your own thing? And this is only Britain, but if I was studying the Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat worldwide, I could write a book about it because I'm aware of, because people tell me a lot of things, divisions, you know, when sorry, many years ago, the Sri Chaitanya Saraswat globally was ran briefly by an Acharya board, but that Acharya board certainly doesn't exist anymore. A number of those members, or at least one, has left his body, and I'm aware that there is some differences of opinion, big ones now, between members of the original Acharya board. So I don't want to dwell on that too much, but the Sri Chaitanya Saraswat, I'm happy to receive updates. The other update is that when this chart was published, we did not put on it the Sri Narasimha Chaitanya Ashram, or the Sri Chaitanya Ashram for short. They did get a mention in the Hare Krishnas in Britain book in a separate section at the end. There was an others section of groups that were not active in the UK, but are active somewhere else in the world. So I did list some, but there has been a major schism since the book came out. There is now a new group called the Rupanuga Bhajan Ashram, which is an offshoot from the Sri Nrsimha Chaitanya Ashram. I have interviewed one of their members on the podcast before, the Hare Krishna Project podcast. Um, I'm not aware they have followers in Britain, but if they do, fantastic. I would love to hear from you, and I would love to put you in your rightful place. What I mean by that, on this chart. Also, I'm aware there are followers of Lalit Prasad in the world. Lalit Prasad was the younger brother of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Um, those followers are not on this chart, but Lalit Prasad did get a brief mention in the Hare Krishnas in Britain book at the end. If there are any followers of Lalit Prasad in Britain, I would love to hear from you. I would love to not put you personally, your name, unless you want your name on the chart. I would love to put your I would love for Lalit Prasad to be represented in some way on this chart. Um, okay, a few other things from me is the Sri Gaudiya Sarasvat. So the Sri Gaudiya Sarasvat not on the chart because 4 years ago there was no representation for the Sri Gaudiya Sarasvat, which is based in South America. There was no representation for them in Britain. If they are now active in Britain, if they have any followers in any way at all, they will be going on this chart. A wonderful group, and I've interviewed a number of devotees from the Sri Gaudiya uh, Sarasvat over the years on this podcast. The other group is the Sri Agori Vaishnav or Vaishnav Agora. They're not on this chart because they're definitely not in the Saraswat line, and they would acknowledge that they're not in the Saraswat line. They did get a brief mention in the Hare Krishnas in Britain book, just kind of in an others section. Um, uh, Many of you will know that I kind of ummed and ahed. That's a British expression, isn't it? I ummed and ahed about putting them in the book because they are quite different from the Gaudiya Vaishnavism that we follow, many of us follow. But they did go in the book because, I like to practice what I preach about inclusion and I like to include people. Even though I get criticized for it, I will always be a champion for inclusion. So anyway, I'm keen to put some of these other groups on here. So it could be that the Agore Vaishnav or the Vaishnav Agore goes as a separate, just a little separate section on its own because it's not in the Saraswat line, it's not in the Nityananda line either, but it's just a separate group. Um, okay, those are the things. Oh, are there any groups that need to be taken away? Are there any group, or should we take any away? I mean, I don't want to name any, but I'm aware of at least two groups in the third generation box that I've not heard from in a number of years. And I know their devotees they're still alive. The people that used to run the groups are still with us, thank the Lord. But I haven't seen any activity on social media for 3 years for two particular groups in the third generation. I don't want to embarrass you, but if you are in any of the groups on this chart that doesn't exist anymore in any way in Britain, I want you to let me know. And if you want to be removed from this chart, also you have to have a good reason to want to be removed from the chart. I am independent and I am objective. I'll give you an example. When this chart came out 4 years ago, I had a criticism from a Prabhupada disciple, and just to be clear, so everyone, a pre-1978 Prabhupada disciple, that the Ritviks shouldn't be on here because it's an offense to Prabhupada. So my response was very clear. Whether the Ritvik groups are offense to Srila Prabhupada or not, they're still going on the list because this is an objective list about groups in Britain, whether we like them or not. Sorry if the way I've just said that offended anybody, but this isn't this. I can assure you, there's lots of groups on this chart that will offend other people. There's certainly groups down in the bottom right section that are offshoots from the Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Line. Some of those groups, they there are people in the London temples of the Sri Chaitanya Saraswat that would rather they're not there, but that's not their decision to make. It's my decision to make whether they're there or not. So if anyone wants to see any removed, get in touch with me and give me a good reason as well. Okay, not just because you don't like them. This is a democracy. This is Britain. People are allowed to do what they want within the law. Um, Also, I just want to home in on two names down the bottom. So when this was published 4 years ago, I put a little note to self and a note to everyone else about these two names, Sri Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Maharaj and Bhakti Sri Rupa Bhagavat Maharaj. So at the time, I had been told that both of them might have visited Britain, but I haven't had any clarification since that they have visited Britain. So that's the first thing. And I just really want some. So I'd like to hear from devotees about these two names, Sri Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Maharaj, and I've interviewed a number of his disciples recently on the Hare Krishna Project podcast. He was the founder of the Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mission, if that helps anyone. And the Bhakti Sri Rupa Bhagavat Maharaj. So right down here where my cursor is moving, I'm keen to hear from devotees with two pieces of information. One, did either of these gurus, these leaders, visit Britain? And secondly, do they have any followers in Britain? If you're a follower of any of either of these individuals in Britain, then yes, I think we're probably going to put them on the chart. This chart is going to be a lot bigger. And now we have a much bigger research team. So it's not just me doing it on my own. We have a team of devotees that will be helping with this. I'm always incredibly grateful to the devotees in the Hare Krishna Project that help with so many things. I know that I'm the face of the project, but actually there are a lot of devotees behind the scenes now helping with a lot of the things that we do. Okay, I don't think there's anything else I need to say than what I've said. Please watch through this video again, not to listen to me necessarily, but just to really receive that information that I've given. We're going to be adding lots of additional groups to this, particularly in the Nityananda Vamsa, the groups that I've listed that will probably be in the third generation, such as the Tatatmaya Sangha, the Radha Kripa Mission, the Hare Krishna Project, the Christian community in Scotland. I want to hear from devotees that were in or are in the International Pure Bhakti Yoga Society, and also in the Sri Chaitanya Saraswat about presentation and how those groups exist today. And the other thing, just to clarify with this research project, this update, this is not a map of succession. Okay, I am usually really calm about most things, but I will get a little bit frustrated if anyone emails me to say, "Oh, he's the successor to him." This is not a map of succession. Okay, I'm going to say it so clearly on the description for this video, which will be available to watch or is available to watch on YouTube and Facebook. When this research project update might take a couple of months. When it'll be published on the Hare Krishna Project website under the history section. And also it will be published on all our social media channels. So mapping out the Gaudiya Vaishnav community family, we all get on so well, of course, in the UK, this updated research project. I think that's it for now. I'm going to just stop the screen share. Um, okay, back in the room. Get in touch if you can help with any of those issues. It would be great to hear from you. Thank you, and Hare Krishna.